Welcome to another edition of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And here's your host, Russ McClellan.
How you doing? My name is Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends one more time. I really appreciate every one of you out there. This is, going on 4.5 years of doing this show, well over 100 episodes. And it's always fun, because this world of ours in real estate is always changing. The one constant in life is change. The funny thing about change is it sure seems to create a lot of stress in people. Get comfortable being comfortable. Nope, that's not the right saying. It is get comfortable being uncomfortable. And when you look at that from a different perspective, uncomfortability can just mean I'm embracing and adapting to overcome the challenges that life has a way of throwing at us, whether we like it or not, in order to accomplish our goal. Now, the question is, in a shift, if you're in real estate, do you have a goal? Do you know what you're worth per hour? What do you really want out of life? These are interesting questions, and if you ask most agents, they won't know the answer to them. They go to work, they do a bunch of stuff, they come home, they look back, and they're not 100% sure what they did for the week. They just knew they were busy working, but were they? Because here's the thing. It's easy to go to work and spend 20 hours a day on social media. A lot of people think in real estate you have to work all the time, weekends, nights, holidays. Your family's not going to like you anymore. Blah, 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 blah. That comes from not having a plan. Okay, the reason I wanted to get into this particular segment is that I have our team leader, Loren Meloy, in the house.
Hello, everybody. Loren Meloy here.
Yes, and so Loren is our team leader. And so I thought maybe we'd preface the conversation with Loren with the fact that I think a lot of real estate brokers right now, in general, all over the country, when rates double, or go from 3 to 5, 5.5, and there's instability in the world, and there's a lot of negativity, and there's a lot of politics, and there's a lot of ideology, and there's a lot of distractions. Loren, as a team leader, maybe we could just start out by how are you going to help people in your role, and maybe tell them what your role is. And you're new to this role with Keller Williams, but you're not new to Keller Williams. You've been with the company a while, and your wife, Kara, as a real estate broker. So from your perspective, I'd like to have a real authentic, frank conversation about the business of real estate agents and what we're seeing.
Yeah, we're always on the lookout for talent and opportunity, but we're also trying to find people who are already looking for the opportunity, right? That's the majority of the conversations I have with people when I say, hey, I think you'd be a great real estate agent, right? We all know those people who have that personality, and it's not necessarily the salesperson personality, although that can help people get off the ground. It's the people who care about their relationships. It's the people who want to help, right? And you tell them that they'd be great in real estate, and I would say probably 9 out of 10 times when I do that, 9 out of 10, I got people say, yeah, I've thought about it. And sometimes maybe that's just flattery, but I think for the most part, a lot of people really do imagine themselves doing it, and I think it's enticing, and they just don't have anybody laying the road out in front of them and saying, this is how you do it.
Yeah, Gary Keller said, who's the founder of this great company, over 200,000 agents in like 58 countries. He said, look, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And if you can't make him drink, sometimes you got to get thirstier horses.
Yep.
Now, there's a lot of truth to that, but I think there's a difference between someone that's willing to do the work but is unsure how to do the work or what the first step is, or maybe there's an intimidation factor there that they can't quite penetrate. And let's face it, man, we could all work out more. We could all eat better. We could all drink a little less. We could all, be a little more organized. Well, all of these things are all about habits and discipline. And I think there's some myths that go along with what it takes to be a real estate broker. Would you say that's fair in your conversations?
Very fair, very fair. And that workout analogy is apt. I think for me, Sometimes it really is whether you have the will to do it or not. Other times, I think for me personally, it's the consistency, right? I have the desire and the drive, but it's inconsistent, right? There are weeks when I am in there 4 days out of the 7, and there are weeks when I try to remember how much I'm paying for my gym membership.
Exactly. Real estate brokerages across the country are facing a lot of questions about there's a lot of opportunity for people. There's never been this many different versions of real estate. You have people that are strictly online with avatars.
Yeah,
that's unique. But hey, I'm 53, so maybe if I was 23, I'd be like, that's
selling that digital real estate in the metaverse.
Yeah, maybe that's what you should do. I mean, that's what I love about this real estate business. I've been doing it for 30 plus years, and I'm learning all the time. The hard part is, though, the discipline, because I think we often, as people, focus on the end and not focus on the process. And when you focus on the end, like, well, I want to lose 30 pounds. And you don't go to the gym for 4 days in a row. Instead, you quite often go eat pizza and cheeseburgers and 6-packs, 12-packs, or 24-packs of that,
You got a carbo load.
Cerveza. Yeah, so all of a sudden, you're like, to hell with it. I'm not going to lose 30 pounds this year. I'm just going to keep the negative behavior in line. Or you can get on the workout train and start feeling better, eating right, and doing that same thing, even if it's a half hour a day, can change your life. Well, the funny thing about this analogy is that real estate is very similar. It's a myth that you have to work all the time. You have to work all the time if you're not efficient with the time you are putting in, right? And as a team leader, one of the obligations, responsibilities, or gifts that you have is that you get to work with the top 20% of our company in consulting. And you'll see patterns because success leaves clues, right? And then you'll also, you're fairly new to this role. You'll also see that bottom 20, bottom 50%. If you looked at a top-down report, which is like, okay, we look at these top-down reports so we can know who needs help, even if they're not asking for it, right?
Yeah.
Well, I think you'll see a pattern of behavior, which basically means sometimes a lack of understanding of what to do, but sometimes it's just like working out. I know that if I go to the gym and I walk on the treadmill, it's better than if I do nothing. I may not have to go deadlift 400 pounds today or, bench press, until my arms fall off, but I don't go. So sometimes it's this weird, self-employed, independent, discipline-required business that is hard for some people. Yeah. It's easy to make excuses. So what we try to do, and what I'd love to hear is like, what do you think our opportunities are for people right now in real estate based on what's going on in the market? Love to hear your take on that.
Yep. I think a big part of it is just showing up, and we continuously provide opportunities for people to find out what to do in a shift. I think we're inviting smart lenders to come in and help people. I think any active agent who has even a single client in their database who's talking to them about real estate, again and again, the conversation is going to come to lending, right? It's going to come to, well, last year I looked into it and I was qualified for $400,000. I could have bought myself a nice 2-bed, 1-bath for me and my partner, and now neither of us qualify for anything. Well, what options have you looked at? Did you get that information from Rocket Mortgage? Something that's nameless and faceless that you just plug some numbers into on Google. Let's sit you down and have a real conversation with a real lender who's been at this for over a decade. Let's try and leverage some of this experience. So if you're an agent who's stuck feeling like there's nobody qualified, show up, take advantage of some of these education opportunities. And I think that's the first step for anybody. Break out of your shell, get out of the rut, go find something out, make yourself an expert.
Yeah, it's interesting because people often feel that real estate agents like around every corner, right? They're like Starbucks in the city. There's a lot of accountants out there too. There's a lot of lawyers out there. There's a lot of bankers out there. There's a lot of Walmart employees out there. There's a lot of scuba divers out there. There's a lot of everything out there, right? But there is a difference in every one of those people inside of those industries. So if you have this assumption that where you're working, if you're a real estate broker right now, is exactly the same setup as every other real estate brokerage, you are wrong.
Yeah.
We are almost all uniquely different. If it's not by the personnel that works in those businesses, it's about the business itself and how it's structured. I can promise you that I've looked into every single franchise that I know about, which is a lot of them, before I did Keller Williams. Because I was an independent, Loren, for a long time. A small business in Chelan. I owned Lake Chelan properties and Frontline real estate for 25 years. At the end of the day, Keller Williams offers a lot more structure. And now we offer a PC productivity coaching program that is literally what to do on Monday, what to do on Tuesday, what to do on Wednesday. And that's a great place to start. I mean, when we come back, I'd love to dive into why are we growing so fast? How did we get to 90 agents? And is there room for more? And why? Because I think this is a myth as well, like, oh, the market's shifting, there's not as many buyers qualifying, the rates are higher. So therefore, it's not a good time to be in real estate. It's not a good time to be a buyer. Not a good time to be a seller. All of those are myths, and we'll dive into them. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be right back with Loren Meloy and talk more about the shifting real estate market around North Central Washington.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Oh, sweet home. Oh, sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. I want to talk to you about something. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel the financial pressures of the COVID virus? That was fun, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, real estate can be a game changer for you, and I'm here to help you. If you want to give me a call at 509-888-0038, I want to talk about your life and getting unstuck. We are growing rapidly. We're the fastest growing real estate company in all of North Central Washington. Give us a call. I want to help you. 509-888-0038.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@KWNCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck.
You're tuned to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to Russ.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Loren Meloy, talking about the real estate shifting market. What's it like to be a real estate agent in this climate, this ever-changing climate? Loren, you know what I know for sure is that I've been in this game a long time, and there's been a balanced market about 6 minutes every decade.
Yep. It's always balancing and never balanced.
Yeah, we're always complaining about something, man. That's what we do as humans. So here's the thing. What do you think about real estate brokers that are struggling right now? What are some of the things you would tell them?
Dig into your database. Man, you know more people than you think. And if you're using a CRM, which you should be, client relationship manager, or there's a few different ways to do that acronym, but dig into that. And if it's feeling kind of light, dig in some more. Go through your phone, fill that thing in, go find some in-person prospecting opportunities. I know that can be daunting for some people, but get out there, be seen in the public, make relationships. It's more than just handing out your card. I think the second thing I would recommend when digging into your database is follow up, right? If people say they're busy, if people say they can't talk to you, set a time to talk to them. Even if you don't have the appointment with them personally, put it in your CRM, make reminders, right? Find ways to automate what you're doing. That's the conversation I had yesterday with an agent who has a killer database and they've paid for some of it, but they've made some headway. The problem is, this is one thing we learned earlier this year. I think, pre-pandemic, a lot of people were starting their home search about 6 months before they bought. And post-pandemic, we're now looking at 18 to 24 months. If you've got 18 to 24 months worth of follow-up to do with your potential clients, you need to automate that. There is no way that you're going to be manually and effectively following up with your database, with your people that you know, effectively over 18 to 24 months if you're doing it manually. So you got to get some sort of automation in there, some sort of system that's going to give you tasks every day, and you can stagger it so you're not overwhelmed. If you got 200 people in your database, you can try, but I don't know if you can get 200 phone calls in a day, right?
Yeah, well, tell us a little bit about what Command does for agents at Keller Williams, because, Gary Keller hired 300 technologists in 7 states and spent about $1 billion developing. I guess you can do that when you're a billionaire, right? Yep. So he gave us this platform. It costs $25 a month to be, as a realtor here, you get all of Command. So maybe for people that have no clue what I'm talking about, and you're also our Market Center tech trainer.
Yep.
So you know a little bit about it.
I know a little bit about it, and I do know that for $25 a month, you're getting something that, depending on which platform you're looking at, could cost you anywhere from $100 to $1,500 a month, depending on what kind of Cadillac platform you want to put yourself on. But Command, for what it does it well. And specifically when we're talking about CRMs and automated follow-up plans, those would be smart plans. If you're digging into Command, that's what you'll see there. So you'll see your contacts, which is kind of the foundation of any CRM, is just kind of name, phone number, email, being able to search through that and tag people accordingly. But your smart plans are going to be these things that you can get set up with what they call a Twilio number, which is a separate text number from your phone, especially if you're doing internet lead generation. It's going to be important for you to have that separate number so that you can keep track on your CRM what you're texting out to people, what responses you're getting, and you can introduce that to people as your work text number. But that all can be automated. So you're not sitting there on your phone, 25 hours a day, texting people manually. It's just going out for you. You can set those texts up ahead of time, and it can be bam, bam, bam. Walking people through the steps of getting pre-qualified for a mortgage. Walking people through, how to set up search parameters. What kind of bed, bath situation are you looking for? How much square footage do you need? And then, between Command and the MLS, you can set people up on these saved searches so that they're hearing from you, and I'm doing air quotes, people can't see that, but they're hearing from you, but what they're really hearing from is all the things you've done ahead of time to save you hours and hours of work. So now you can keep up with your hundreds of people in your database without feeling like you're giving up your nights and weekends. And so that's really just a fraction of what Command can do. Command can get you into the internet space in terms of advertising for leads. It can help you with your design needs. You can set up your own standalone landing pages for properties that you're trying to promote, or just for yourself as an agent. So there's all sorts of tools there for $25 a month. It's an incredible resource, but I would just start with the CRM and keeping up with the people the people you've had conversations with. It's all about follow-up.
Yeah, if you're a real estate agent right now and you're struggling, I can guarantee you're not talking to enough people every day about real estate.
Yeah.
Because this is not a complicated business. It's a simple business. It's a people business. It's a relationship business. It's a trust business. It's a value proposition business. Yeah. But it's not rocket science. It's not biology. I'm not doing brain surgery here. Yeah. You don't have to go to school for 15 years.
It's not rocket surgery.
It's not rocket surgery. It's not. You don't have to be Elon Musk. And what kind of engineer am I? I'm all of them. Yeah, you don't have to be that guy.
It's one of the 3 basic needs, right? It's food, water, and shelter. And I'm not in the food service business. I tried it. It's not great.
Yeah,
so
I tried it too.
Yeah,
it's hard.
We're in the shelter business, and everybody needs it.
And what's funny about this is if you're looking at your position as a real estate broker and you don't feel like you're integrity based, then you're probably not going to like to talk to people about real estate. However, it's all mindset. And I always say mindset eats tactics and strategies for breakfast. So whether it's going to the gym and instead of hitting that snooze button, you get your butt out of bed, you put your shoes on, you get out the door, even if you don't feel like it, that's mindset. That's discipline, right? And then you feel great because you know at the end of that workout, you're going to have endorphins. Same thing happens in real estate. If you believe you're helping people deep down, if you're a good person and you want to help people achieve a goal or a dream, then talk about what you do. You cannot assume that everybody knows you. I joke around, and you ever see this on Facebook, especially with relationship problems and boyfriends, girlfriends, or God help us, divorce. And you see that on Facebook, it's like, they always say everyone, or you've heard people say everyone knows what happened. No, actually they don't. More now that you put it on Facebook, but in all reality, I call it 7 people talking to 7 people talking to 7 people.
Yeah.
That's everyone? No, that's 21 people kind of talking. And then the rumor mill is a lot like a rogue wave searching to capsize a vessel. It needs the vessel. It needs something to go after. If you don't promote it, it will calm down. So it's funny to me when someone says, yeah, well, I don't like bugging people. What do you mean bugging people? If you're in a real estate business and you're trying to help them, and you just want them to know that you're in the business of helping people, then why wouldn't you tell everybody that you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is what you do. It's called lead generating or communicating about your profession, right? So if you're at Starbucks or XYZ coffee company, say, hey, did you know I'm a real estate broker? Have you ever been interested in becoming a real estate broker? Love to help you. Guess what? We're a profit-sharing company, and we motivate people by that, by incentivizing them to do that. But more importantly, you say, hey, you know what? I know people all over the country because you do, because you're in an ecosystem of Keller Williams that is in all these countries and in every state in the United States. And you say, hey, do you know anybody that wants to buy or sell or invest in real estate? Or is there anything I can do to help you? If not today, tomorrow, let me know. Here, how much was the coffee? $5. Okay, here you go. It's that simple. Do that all day. I had a consulting conversation with a new person and a person that's been in the business a long time together, and they were saying, "Well, how do we get a jump start right now?" I said, "Talk to 100 people a day about real estate every day. You talk to more than 100 people a day. Just include the fact that you're willing to help them and that you're a real estate broker." Odds are, if you do that and you sell 2 people a month, you make $100,000 a year. Yeah. It's like, seems pretty simple, but for whatever reason, it's not easy. And I think partly that's a fear of the unknown, fear of rejection. But what we do is we make it pretty simple for people, depending on what they want, right? And as a team leader, you're out there promoting and helping find agents that are licensed with other companies that are struggling that we can help, or that are successful but they want more time back. That's the other component. There's a lot of people that are doing well, but they are grinding.
Yep.
Straight into alcoholism. They're grinding straight into a divorce. They're grinding straight into their kids grew up and they don't know who they are. You shouldn't do that. There's ways to, like you said, automate. There's ways to become more efficient with your time.
Oh yeah, develop the habits that you need to have those 100 conversations.
Yeah.
You mentioned, seeing divorces on Facebook, and I don't know if you've been to the movies lately, but they have those fun facts that they put up there, and one of them, I don't know why they're trying to bum people out, but they said over 73% of divorce filings have the word Facebook in them. And that was nuts to me. And I'm like, why not leverage the notoriety and pervasiveness of Facebook to have maybe some life-affirming conversations about real estate and shelter rather than, promote your divorce.
Retro marketing. Let's get back to actually having conversations with people. It's weird.
Yeah.
When we come back with another segment with Loren Meloy, our new team leader at Keller Williams, we'll dive into a little bit about some other myths that are in real estate right now in the shift, and why I personally believe it's the best time to buy dirt in a long time. We're right back with Loren Meloy and myself, Russ McClellan. Thanks for tuning in.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. Thanks for tuning in to our radio show. I want everybody to know something. We offer a free real estate school, K-Score. We have a brand new team leader in Loren, Meloy. If you're interested in changing your life, if you don't have enough money, if you need extra money for those AU basketball shoes, if you want a career that actually gives you your time back, believe it or not everybody works 100 hours a week in real estate. Trust me. At the end of the day, Keller Williams provides the systems, tools, training, and technology you need to flourish. Give us a call at 509-888-0038. You can call me personally at 509-470-2416 or email our staff and Kelly Hain, my sister and our Market Center Administrator, at joinus@kw.com for more information on our free real estate school. Make it a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, this is Russ McClellan. We started our real estate company, Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington, in the spring of 2018. We've grown to be the largest real estate company in North Central Washington, and there's a reason for that. We attract people that want to keep the vast majority of the money they earn because they deserve it. We attract people that know that Keller Williams is the most advanced education and training real estate company and the largest real estate franchise system on the planet. We're in approximately 55 countries with approximately 170,000 agents with the most advanced technology in a world that is driven by the digital age that there is in real estate. We also, if that's not enough, profit share at 49% above a predictable expense line monthly. If you're interested in learning more about Keller Williams Realty NCW, give us a call today at 509-888-0038 and let's talk real estate. Have a great day.
You're listening to Keller Williams Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to the show.
Today it's Loren Meloy, the new team leader at Keller Williams, North Central Washington. Hey, I have this question. It always comes up. Why do people say to our agents, man, why are you drinking the Kool-Aid over there at Keller Williams?
You ever had Kool-Aid? It's tasty. It's tasty, man. It's a great mixer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that guy? High C, the big picture guy when we were kids?
Oh, yeah. He'd burst through the wall. Kool-Aid man.
Yeah. Why do people say that about us?
I think it's because we do tend to parrot a lot of what we hear, and it's because a lot of what we hear is, I think, gold nuggets, right? I think some of the problem is maybe we hear it in the context that it's said, and then other people who are our friends, they hear it out of context. It's just out of the blue. We're telling people to buy dirt, or Charge the Storm was the one at Mega Camp this year, about buffaloes and how they're the only animals that'll run into a storm. And I think sometimes out of context, it can feel kind of weird, like, what are you talking about, man? Mm-hmm. But they're great conversation starters. And yeah, I think if you know how to communicate that value, people might still make fun of you and tell you you're drinking the Kool-Aid, but I think they understand.
Yeah, I think Kelly has a sign in her office that says people are going to talk a lot of smack about you right up until the time they join you.
Yep.
And a lot of it's just you don't know what you don't know, right? Like there's three things. We know what we know, like you know your name, I know my name. We know what we're not. I'm not a brain surgeon. I know that for a fact that I'm not that. But then there's all this other stuff that you don't know what you don't know. And when you're in that position, you often will not become curious. You will become judgmental. And that's true for a lot of us, right? We get real familiar with what we know and we defend what we know as people. And anything that's new requires humility. Right? Well, the good news about real estate and the bad news is if you're arrogant, eventually you'll lose. It's just inevitable. It's like the arrogant quarterback in college or in the NFL. Well, eventually there was a younger dude that threw twice as hard and twice as far and ran twice as fast. Well, your time is over, right? So if you're not Tom Brady and you're not looking at it every day, like, Tom Brady has 1,000 interviews, the greatest quarterback of all time probably, right? Well, he gets up every morning hungry and scared.
Yep.
That's how he did it.
Yeah.
I know I got to prepare. I know I have to be disciplined.
Because there's always a draft pick coming up behind him.
And, I heard something the other day. It was on a podcast, but it was a Metallica guitar player. I think he's in his 60s now.
Yeah.
He's also in martial arts and crazy articulate guy, right? For being in Metallica, a rock band forever since the 70s. And he said 2 years ago, he went back and started taking guitar lessons. Didn't work for him because he goes, I couldn't really learn it because I was self-taught and I didn't really understand the systems. But what I took away from that conversation is there's one of the greatest guitar players that have ever lived. And he said, I'm going to go back and get guitar lessons.
Trying to improve, trying to break some of those bad habits he formed.
Why did Michael Jordan have a coach?
Yeah.
Why did Tiger Woods have a coach? Why do they have personal trainers? This is the concept. When you take a step back as a real estate broker or as a person, it's okay to be authentically scared about your future and or excited. Fletcher Ellingson, our mindset coach, says this a lot. You cannot have courage. Courage will not present itself without fear happening.
Yeah.
You can have fear without courage, but you cannot have courage without fear. So the idea is if you want to be a courageous person, you must embrace the fear that comes with the precursor to courage. So when you're sitting there thinking about real estate, is it right for me? Well, do you like helping people?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. It's a help people game.
Well, and you mentioned brain surgery, right? That's probably an example of a profession that it's not real easy to walk up to your friends and be like, man, I'm new at this. I need practice. You want to sit on this table for 3 hours while I dink around on your brain, That's probably not going to work out. But if you're getting into real estate, your friends they may be in a position where they think they're renters for life, right? Well, you get an opportunity to have a conversation with them. And even if you don't change their mind, at least you have practice having the conversation with people, right? And so real estate's a great example of you can walk up to any of your friends and family and be like, I'm new at this. I just need to get used to talking to people about real estate. And have those conversations with no pressure, no expectation of a sale. If they end up deciding that they want to buy in real estate because of that practice conversation you had with them, bonus, right? But at least you got yourself in there. If you're a new real estate agent, be asking people to have those practice conversations. Just do it.
Yeah.
Flex those muscles.
Yeah, think about this. I said on the last segment I want to talk about why it's a good time to buy dirt. I want to spin that a little bit. It's fascinating to me how many real estate brokers, let's say there's 400 in the entire MLS, multiple listing service in North Central Washington, right? Of all the companies combined, there's about 400 agents, I think. I don't know how many sell dirt, but it's a heck of a lot less than those that sell houses. Oh, I don't do land. I don't do like what? You know what? Why don't you do land? Well, I don't know. It's really for the most people. I mean, I guess some people have, they don't want to drive their brand new, $100,000 car on land or something, or maybe they don't want to get their shoes dirty, or I don't know. That's whatever, right? Some people are only going to do Seattle downtown condos. I get it. Here's the problem. In a shift, land is an amazing opportunity. Owner contracts. Why don't people understand owner contracts? Like we're talking like 85% of the real estate brokers don't do land. I think there's just a vast majority of people that don't do land because they don't want to ask the questions and learn. They might have been in the business 10 years, but they never really dove into it. You know what I love to do is teach about land, teach about wells, teach about septics, teach about easements, teach about all of these things. How does it work? What's the difference between a Group B and a Class A and a private exempt well? And what are the county regulations? And how much gallons per minute? And can you share a well and still be considered a private system? Blah, 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 right? All of these things I love to teach. And this is the exciting part about coming to Keller Williams. We have contracts class. We have technology classes. We have
a whole segment devoted to land.
Yeah, it's amazing.
KW land, yeah.
So when you want to get educated, if you want to become powerful, then become curious.
Yeah.
Become a curious mind and a learning-based individual. And I don't care if you sold 100 houses last year. I learn every day from someone.
Yep.
You have to somehow find a way to become open-minded to new ideas.
Yes.
Including me and TikTok and me and the metaverse and me and a lot of things that are not easy.
Or maybe something after the metaverse that doesn't look so dumb.
Yeah, there are some concepts that I'm like, okay, my instincts are like, that is wild and weird. I don't know if I'd sell real estate as an avatar. I'm not sure how the hell did I do that. But I'm not saying it won't work, and I'm not saying it's not right for some people. I had Marie Lopez on and her two sons last month on the show. One was 7 and one was 10, and they want to become YouTube influencers. So I had them on the radio, and I said,
Nice.
"You guys know how to use TikTok?" "Oh yeah, we know how to use TikTok." And I go, "Think I could do it?" And they look at me like, yes. 7-year-old said, "I can teach you."
Oh, that's awesome. I do know that's where, people are saying there's nobody under a certain age on Facebook anymore. They're all on YouTube, right? Which is a fascinating thing because YouTube's older than Facebook. It's amazing. But back to the conversation about dirt, one of the number one complaints I hear from listing agents on homes is that they get nickel and dimed on inspections, right? Now that we're in a shift, we're back to a place where buyers can get inspections. Oftentimes they'll come in at list price, knowing full well that they'll do the inspection, and every inspection report has a list of items on it. Even if it's brand new construction, you'll see something. And a lot of buyers agents will know we can get some money off the list price after the inspection.
Yeah, double dip negotiating is what I call it.
Yep.
That's why one of the things I say is get a pre-list home inspection.
Yep, absolutely. Same with feasibility for land. But how often do you see feasibilities come back with nickel and diming? It happens, but it's not nearly as often as inspections.
No, and you can hand a report to someone and go, "We priced it according to what the inspection says."
Yep.
That's why it's not $100,000 more.
Yep.
But
But with land, you can get septic site evaluations done. You can do all that feasibility ahead of time. It's oftentimes a lot less expensive than fixing a home.
Well, and to your point, if you own land, don't go to one person, and if they don't understand the 1,000 different ways we can look at your parcel, let me give you one little tip. I've seen this 100 times, and there are investors that are just looking and looking and looking for this. And that is for realtors and or for sale by owners. God help them. I love those guys. But realtors that look at a parcel number on land, a tax identification number, and think that, that 10-acre piece is one legal lot of record, and never once look to the actual legal description and say, "Oh, wait a minute, there's 3 legal lots of record built into that legal description that have been condensed into one tax identification number." So the reason that's important, right? If you own 10 acres, is first of all, what's the highest and best use of that 10 acres? And we can figure that out for you. But I guarantee you, if one 10-acre piece is one home, if you have 3 already, do a boundary line adjustment, we can talk about how to do Group B water system or shared wells, and all of a sudden you now have 3 legal lots of record to sell. Bam, you just made about 2/3 more money. So if you own land, make sure you're not hiring your neighbor just to hire your neighbor. He might be a great guy, she might be a great lady, but unless they have done a deep dive or have some consultants in their firm that can help them understand development consulting, don't hire them to do it. Let's hire experts.
Get an expert.
Get an expert. Well, hey man, thanks for coming in. I'm excited to see what we're going to be doing here this month, September, because we have a lot to offer and there's a lot of money, and there's never been a better time to get into real estate than a shift, because the deck will get shuffled. The top to bottom, the bottom to top. This is a new game, and it's time to bring new energy. All right, well, when we come right back, we'll be talking to Michael Maher and PrimeLending. More about creativity. Let's do it.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@KWNCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner with Keller Williams Realty and the host of this show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. I want to take just a minute to say a heartfelt thank you for your support and tuning into our show each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I personally have made some amazing friendships as a direct result of this radio show, and I couldn't be more grateful. As always, throw the phone in the drawer, be present, Spend some time with your friends and loved ones and make it a fantastic Saturday. Thanks again for your amazing support of Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends.
You're enjoying the Real Estate Show, Home Sweet Home with Russ, McClellan, and friends. Here's more with Russ.
Hey, welcome back. This is Russ McClellan. One more time with Michael Maher at PrimeLending. Thanks for calling in, Michael. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Excited to be here and, as usual, kind of give people the lowdown on what's going on in the mortgage world.
Yeah, as you know, we tape the show and these shows will air in September, but I'm going to give you kudos because although by the time you're listening to this, it actually happened last month, but you and PrimeLending are working with wounded warriors and teaching them today, as a matter of fact, how to wake surf. And you were telling me off air that you had a chance to meet a lot of guys and maybe gals that had some serious injuries in combat in Iraq and so on. And I just wanted to commend you because, without those veterans, it's a different game that we don't have those freedoms. It's not free. Those guys are amazing heroes. So kudos to all of you guys.
No, I appreciate that. And just on that note, real quick, when it comes to these guys, the injuries, even if you can't see them, I spoke to one guy who said that this saved his life. Something as simple as wake surfing was enough for him to go, you know what, I found purpose again, and this is what I want to be involved in. As silly as that might sound to a lot of people, just getting involved in any small way can make a big difference between these guys being around or not. So no, I appreciate that, and I'm excited for teaching them today, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, exactly. When you get a chance, make sure you let them know, because I'm working with I made a phone call and beginning to work with the Veterans Association and Veterans Affairs on getting real estate licenses, because we have that real estate school that's free. And those guys and gals that were intense and disciplined and whether they're in combat or not are a great fit for real estate. They're passionate, they're loyal, dedicated, disciplined. All of those things, when you add purpose through real estate, people just don't think about it. But real estate's something that if you're just an honorable human, you're honest, your work ethic is there, the rest we can teach. And
Exactly.
And there's never been a better time to get into real estate, in my opinion, than during a shift. And that's where we are. So, and we can talk more about that. So with that being said, we're definitely seeing some things change, right? In your world,
Yep.
The refinances are probably slowing down, if not drying up, as the interest rates climb. There's no incentive. So that's probably happening, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Well, how do we talk for a while about, I'd like to talk about how do you structure deals where now you have flexibility from sellers, which was kind of a unicorn for about 4 or 5 years. Sellers were not really in the mood to even have inspections, let alone give concessions on price or otherwise. But sometimes in a market that's shifting, the buyers can become very creative with their real estate brokers and structuring deals to enhance that opportunity. And so I was going to just maybe role play a little bit and or just talk about a case that we have going around, get your take on it. And what the situation is, the buyer has $100,000, want to buy an $800,000 house. The seller's willing to pay closing costs. Seller's willing to basically come up with about $50,000 to $75,000 in concessions. There's some about $25,000, $30,000 worth of work that needs to be done on this house to get it up to code. What's the best way to preserve or use that $100,000, would you think, if the goal of the buyer is to reduce the payment and have the cash to fix this house up and not have to worry about something not being up to code, like electrical, for example? What are some of the ways we could do that?
Yeah, no, I think this is important for people to kind of understand the strategy behind it. So first and foremost, if someone's goal is to have a lower payment, it's always going to be better to buy the interest rate down rather than have a reduction in price. Now, it'll make sense to do that. There's some break-even points when it comes to buying down points. And what that means is, at some point, if you were to pay a lot of money to get a lower interest rate, but then you were going to turn around and sell the home in a couple of years, it may not make financially enough sense to buy the interest rate down, and the lower price might be better. But if this is a primary purchase where you're going to live there for the foreseeable future, then buying points is 100% the way to get the lower payment. Now, with that being said, depending on how much someone is putting down as a down payment will determine what the seller is legally allowed to provide back to the buyer as far as credits. So if you're putting less than 10% down, the seller can only give 3% back. If you're putting more than 10%, then the seller can give 6% back. So on this particular example, at an $800,000 purchase price with $100,000 down, that's about 12% down. So the seller could give back a full credit of 6% of that purchase price, which is $48,000, towards the buyer to help towards closing costs or buying the rate down. But you said that total they're willing to work between $50,000 to $75,000.
Yeah, and some of that, like 25, 30, needs to go to enhancing things in the house, like electrical, et cetera, that need to be up to code, that were driven by an inspection report.
No, exactly. So what do we do now that we're capped on? Let's just assume the seller's going to give the full 6% and you're going to use it all. Well, that still leaves about, say, $30,000 on the table. Well, the seller can't just write a check to the buyer and the buyer can't get cash and do that. However, they kind of can in a way. So if you have some stuff that's going on with the property and you want to get that done, fixed, whether it's a new roof, some paint, putty, whatever it is, the seller can actually do a seller-funded holdback. And what that means is the seller puts money in an account that escrow holds for specific work items that the buyer needs to go get a licensed and bonded contractor to get these bids done. And then that will be paid for out of that account on the seller's dime. So that is a creative way that we've been utilizing, then basically the buyer, quote unquote, getting cash back to credit on top of what the seller's giving them on closing costs.
Yeah, and did you say the contractors have to have the bids in during escrow before closing, and did those contractors have to be licensed and bonded?
Yep, correct. So you have to have everything picked out. They won't, at the end of it, really has to make sure all the ducks are in a row when it comes to, it's not really an open check. So you're better off just getting a bunch of items that you want done to the home and having those on an itemized list so that there's money set aside for those particular items that you want completed.
Now, at what point would because we talk about the enhancement loan, rehab loans a lot too, where basically you would buy the house at X price, then you would already have these same general contractors give you estimates on what they're going to do. The appraiser would then appraise it based on these work requirements already being done. And then you do a two-step process where it's actually not a holdback, it's actually coming from the lender in the enhancement portion of the post-closing environment. So if you, in this example, well, I guess what I'm asking is, when does that become better to do holdbacks or better to do enhancement loans?
Enhancement is going to be when the buyer funds it, and a holdback is when the option is for the seller to do that. You can do a buyer-funded holdback, and usually if the buyer is going to set some money aside, that can be for smaller ticket items that maybe the appraiser called out, like there's some peeling paint, things like that, that they maybe can't get on the schedule right away, but you still want to close the loan quickly. But more often than not, you're going to do an enhancement or a renovation loan when the buyer is going to foot the bill, and holdbacks are typically when the seller is going to foot the bill. Not always, but I would say that's what when I would encourage a buyer to use that program, is if the seller is going to foot the bill for them.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, because if you just say, hey, we're at 800 and I want 100 back, I'll just jump it to 900. Well, boom, then we have an appraisal problem, because we're not in that holdback environment. The appraiser is not giving any consideration to the improvements. It's going to be an as-is appraisal. So by jacking the price $100,000 just to get it back, they probably will run into that problem where it won't appraise. Where if you do an enhancement loan, they appraise it as is. There's essentially like two appraisals, right? They appraise it as is, and then they appraise it with the new swimming pool or with the new paint or the new roof. And therefore, you're able to, as a borrower, borrow the money to fix it up and include that in your mortgage, versus a holdback where it's just, you're just buying it and then they're going to take some of their equity and fix up the house to get it financeable or whatever, up to code. Yeah, it's interesting because they're kind of related. They're like kissing cousins, but but it's how you structure things. This is the challenge. And, we have cases all the time where buyers get bad advice or, not intentionally, but they say things, and we all do from our own experiences. And the reality is, if you do something for 30 years, you probably have a little more experience than 3 months. Doesn't mean you're smarter. But the good thing about like what we call R&D in our company, which is rip off and duplicate, it also includes intellectual properties, meaning lean into each other. When you have almost 90 real estate brokers in a firm in a town the size of Wenatchee in north central Washington, that's like 20% of the entire MLS, right? So we have people that have people that have people, right? So that's the fun thing about working with Keller Williams agents. We all have these relationships and this creativity. So if you're working with someone out there that's a lender that doesn't know what a renovation loan is, doesn't know an enhancement loan, doesn't know how to do holdbacks, then you probably need to interview some different lenders like Michael Maher and PrimeLending. And the same thing goes for the brokerage. And that is, if the broker doesn't know how to write contracts that are creative in a shift, you need to find somebody that does. And then most importantly, we have to work together. One of the things I like to do is say we quarterback transactions on behalf of our clients. And that means we leverage into other relationships like you. Hey man, we're almost out of time. So how do people get a hold of you, Michael? I appreciate it.
Yeah. No, the best way is my cell, 425-760-8824. You can call or text that number anytime, and I'll pick up and be available to answer any questions anyone has.
All right. Well, thanks again for working with those awesome vets. Hey, everybody, get outside, play with your kids. That work-life balance is important. Just like we always say, God, family, business at Keller Williams. Don't stress out about hypotheticals. They may not even happen. Just live a real life. Enjoy each other, give each other hugs, high fives. Let's have some fun. Thanks for tuning in one more time to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends.
It's a bright new day just came my way.